And there's a lot of other things going on in your life with the local live music series and so forth, the kids in your family band.
Yeah.
But before we get to all that, let's have another song.
Sure. Let's see now. Let me do one called All the Old Legends. And I think I wrote this one shortly after the death of B.B. King. And it got me thinking about all these old legends that are moving on, and they've left us with their songs and their music. And I built this song up off of 20 lyrics or titles to other songs, classic songs. And I used to say to people, if you can guess all 20, you win my entire collection of CDs and free tickets to all my shows, even the ones with cover charges. So just send me an email if you get all 20 of them, and that deal still stands. And if you'd like to sing along, roll your window down, and there's a sing-along chorus you can't miss, Rivers of Whiskey and Buckets of Beer, and the songs that we all sing along to. You may be hesitant to sing about Rivers of Whiskey in your car if there's perhaps a police officer next to you. But anyway, here it goes. Well, there's a song for the freeway. There's a song for the heartbreak. There's a song for the song's sake. Song for the loss of the thrill. There's a song that you're writing. There's a song still in hiding. If you don't try to find it, probably nobody will. Don't bar the door, she ain't going nowhere. She's seen better days, but she smiles anyways, saying go on and go where the lonely go, dear. Those swinging doors might let a song through. All the old legends are leaving us here. They gave us their best, then they laid down to rest. Rivers of whiskey and buckets of beer, and the songs that we all sing along to. Rivers of whiskey and buckets of beer, and the songs that we all sing along to. And there's a song for a dragon. There's a song to imagine. There's a song out of fashion that keeps getting better with age. And there's a song for Muskogee. There's a song for the lonely. There's a song trying to show me the key to that long-lost refrain. The muse is amused with her poet's despair. He's singing better days, but he tries anyways, saying I gotta go where the lonely go, dear. Those swinging doors might let a song through. All the old legends are leaving us here. They gave us their best, then they laid down to rest. Rivers of whiskey and buckets of beer, and the songs that we all sing along to. Rivers of whiskey and buckets of beer, and the songs that we all sing along to. There's a song for the changes, blackbirds and brown angels, blue caught up in tangles, and ribbons that fall from the hair. Heart of gold trying to stay free, diamonds shining like crazy, purple rain kinda hazy, falling from heaven knows where. You give all you got till you get what you need. It all seems sublime when she whispers a rhyme, saying I'll meet you down where the lonely go dead. Those swinging doors might let a song through. All the old legends are leaving us here. They gave us the best, then they laid down to rest. Rivers of whiskey and buckets of beer, and the songs that we all sing along to. Last chance now. Rivers of whiskey and buckets of beer, and the songs that we all sing along to.
Jay Brown with the musical sort of crazy quilt
Yeah.
of song titles. I like that.
Thank you.
Live in Studio B on WNCW this afternoon. Tell us about your live music series you host.
Sure. Local live at the White Horse, Black Mountain. It's been going on for I think, about 5 years. It is an original music series. It's usually the first and third Monday of every month, with some exceptions. This month we made an exception to make a space for my friend Michael McNevin, who's traveling through from Niles, California. Not very local, but he's thinking about it. With the format is I'll start the show off around 7 and do about 15 or 20 minutes of songs, and then invite up the first featured artist, and he or she or they will do about 15, 20 minutes of original songs, and then I'll come up and do sort of a little interview inspired by the WNCW model of artist interviews, and then we'll pick some together. And then we'll do the same for the next artist. Usually there's 2 featured artists and myself any given Monday.
Very good. And you've got some other gigs coming up very soon, I think this week.
Yes, let's see now. Well, now the next local live will be a week from today, and that will be with Carrie Cooper and Madeline Ayana, and this will be their second time playing local live. Let's see now. I think Lazy Birds is playing this Friday, if I'm not mistaken, May 19th. Is that this Friday?
That is this Friday.
Hey, I'm impressed with myself. Shiloh and Gaines, we're playing at 9 o'clock. The Lazy Birds will be there.
And you can find out all what's going on in the world of Jay Brown on your website, jbrownmusic.com.
That's right.
Hey, tell us about playing with Doc Watson back in the day. How did you meet Doc?
Well, my buddy Dusty West, who hopefully he's listening up in Alaska right now, he's a sort of a promoter around Boone, North Carolina, just on his own. He did some work with Lazy Birds and various other bands, but he also is just a really a social person, and he got to know some of Doc's family just through being him, and come to find out that Doc and Rosalie had the Lazy Birds' first CD, and they really liked it and listened to it a fair amount. And so he asked if it'd be okay if Lazy Birds came over to the house sometime and got to meet Doc and Rosalie, and they said, sure, that'd be fine. So we went over there one day and spent an afternoon. And when we got there, Rosalie was there, and Doc was picking with Richard. They were kind of doing some practicing. And Doc gave us just a wonderful quote, just came up with it right there on the spot, and that's on our website. And Rosalie said, Doc, why don't you do some picking with these boys? And Doc said, well, I don't believe I feel like doing any picking right now. Well, that's fine, Doc, maybe another time. But then the phone rang, and Nancy was on the phone, his daughter. And Rosalie hung up the phone and said, Doc, that's Nancy. She's coming over, and she wants to hear you do some picking with these boys. So that's what we did. We picked 5 or 6 songs with Doc, and it was just great. And then did some music with him at the Doc Fest in Sugar Grove shortly thereafter.
That's just precious, man.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. And Etta Baker too. You played with Etta at some point, right?
Yeah, informally, just at her 89th birthday, I got to meet her. Also because of Dusty, and we just sat and did some picking together, and it was just to be in her presence was wonderful. She was really just a beautiful person.
These are just giants in the acoustic and roots music world. And it's so wonderful to hear stories like yours and to know that they were so approachable, that they were so down to earth.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah. Doesn't happen in a lot of other places.
That's true. That's true. And I felt really fortunate to be living in Boone at that time. I'd moved up from Alabama, from Birmingham, in I think '93, and to be immersed in that roots music was just wonderful. And we would see Doc around. He would show up for little benefits and things, and just to see him in his presence and just the way he carried himself in the world was really inspiring.
You and your bandmate moved from Alabama to Western North Carolina at the same time. Is that right?
That's right. Me and James Brown, the other James Brown,
right.
Moved up from. We went to high school together in Birmingham, and then shortly after high school, I think a year after, the two of us moved up along with some other friends who were not musical. Or actually, there were three of us in the band that moved up, and then other friends who were not musicians but just friends.
What made you decide to move here?
Well, step one was getting out of Birmingham. And I love to go back to Birmingham, but that's all I had known, and I was ready to get out of there. And we visited Boone and then just fell in love with it, and just to be that much in the mountains and a different culture, and yet not all that far from where I grew up, about 6-hour drive, 7-hour drive. So we moved up there together and started playing gigs. And a couple of the first people that we met were Mitch Johnson, who ended up playing bass with us, and Andy Christopher, who ended up playing tenor guitar with us. And we met a fellow named Brian Yerman, who's no longer with us, but some of your listeners are probably very familiar with Brian. He's a great old-time musician, and he was also a good mentor for the Lazy Birds in a lot of ways.
Very good, very good.